The MG34 and MG42 were two revolutionary machine guns to enter service in World War II, and they are featured in hundreds of movies and video games, even some science fiction. These weapons were iconic for a reason. The MG34 was easily the most advanced machine gun when introduced to units in 1936. It had an impressive rate of fire between 800 to 900 rounds a minute. However, this would greatly be surpassed by the MG42, its successor, which by 1943 was being produced in even greater numbers, offering the Germans an even more powerful machine gun with a rate of fire between 900 and 1500 rounds per minute. The MG42 was also far easier to produce and less sensitive to battlefield conditions, compared to the over-engineered MG34 with its precision built and tightly milled parts.
That's great! Looks like the fastest bitch works!
The rapid rates of fire for the MG34 and MG42 had pros and cons, particularly when you analyze the practical rate of fire, which accounts for overheating. Both machine guns, for example, if fired continuously for 150 rounds, would need a quick barrel change. These machine guns were most effective when using controlled bursts, only utilizing their high cyclic rates of fire against targets exposed for a few seconds, like against aircraft, for which they were both effective against.
Spiderweb AA sights are mounted directly behind the front sight. A rear sight attachment is used in conjunction with the front spiderweb sights.
Herr Feldwebel, nehmen Sie 6 Leute und gehen Sie nachschauen. Jawohl.
One specific quality relating to the rate of fire, shown rarely in cinema, is the morale effect MG34s and MG42s played on Allied soldiers, inexperienced or otherwise. This was of notable concern for Allied governments, and here is an example of one such US military video preparing soldiers to encounter these weapons in the field.
Listen to that. Fast. That thing sprays a lot of lead. And you're scared, because the German gun fires faster than anything you've run into before.
Also note the distinct sound of the MG34 and MG42 compared to the American light and heavy .30 caliber machine guns.
D's. Firing.
This sound and the length of bursts are what producers should be looking for when making films. Understandably, weapons fire is not always perfect in a film, but it's nice when it is, as these sounds translate into genuine fear for many soldiers. One movie that highlights this sound very well is Saving Private Ryan. Though there is one slight inaccuracy in this scene, which is a round, even from an MG42, loses virtually all kinetic energy when it hits water, having a density 800 times that of air. These rounds would not kill beyond a few inches of water. Between 1935 and 1945, 577,000 MG34s would be produced, with 424,000 MG42s being produced between 1942 and 1945, with the MG42 dominating later war production with its easier to manufacture stamped metal parts. Nearly 2 MG42s could be produced for every one MG34. Both guns would remain prolific throughout the Army, Navy, and Panzer Corps, with the majority of the Panzer Corps using the MG34 internally in tanks throughout the war as its secondary armament due to the ability to change the barrel without having to dismount the gun, as the barrel changes could be done straight back, as opposed to being changed at the side, like with the MG42. In the field, this is actually an excellent and easy method for changing barrels, and only takes 5 to 7 seconds, obviously being much faster than in Battlefield 5 and the gaming universe. MG34s or MG42s could be mounted outside tanks, with the 42s more effective against enemy aircraft. Interestingly, in Saving Private Ryan, the Tiger I does not once use its MG34, such as we see the Tiger 131 do in Fury. The MG34 front-mounted machine gun was designed primarily to deal with infantry, but tank crews did often fire the machine guns at each other and attempt to crack the armored glass viewports, or kill any foolish tank commanders remaining outside their tanks. The Kriegsmarine primarily used MG-34s, with MG-42s more desperately needed by the army with their excellent resistance to mud and dirt. In U-571, the MG-34 scene is particularly interesting because the gun is used against a British lifeboat in the Atlantic, which is somewhat opposite of the actual historic event. The movie U-571 is an Americanization of a British event relating to U-110, which was captured by the British Royal Navy. U-110, after being depth-charged, surfaced. The British crew mistakenly opened fire on the U-boat crew, which was attempting to surrender, thinking they were trying to man the U-boat's deck gun. In the confusion, the crew did not think to go back below and destroy sensitive materials, such as the Enigma machine and codebooks.
Auf, ein bisschen schneller, komm!
Ultimately, both the MG-34 and 42 are excellent general-purpose machine guns. With the right equipment, they could fire 3.5 kilometers away and were effective against aircraft. Both are highly accurate if used correctly, with the MG-42 marginally less accurate due to its extreme rate of fire, with more significant vibration. However, the MG-42 outclassed all general-purpose machine guns on the battlefield during World War II, with its reliability sometimes compared to that of an AK-47.
We must kill everything that we see! For Hitler! Die, devil, stop!
Today, many versions of the MG-42 live on, most commonly the MG-3, though it does seem there is a place in the future for the MG-32 as well. Presently, even the Austrian army still uses versions of the MG-42, with a select fire trigger and a reduced rate of fire called the MG-74, named after the year it was introduced. There are altogether over 30 armed forces using MG-42 derivatives today.
Machine gun, probably MG-42.
Alright, I'm Johnny. Thanks for watching this video on 2 German World War II machine guns and some of the films they were featured in. If you want to expand on this subject, please do so in the comments section below. Also, feel free to correct, criticize, or debate. I'm not a historian, just an amateur war movie fan, so I'm always open to be proven wrong. As always, if you want to support the channel, liking the video and or subscribing is helpful, and we'll see you next time.